Alright, so today we're going to do a leveling kit. 1.5 inch Motofab leveling kit. They're billet adapters on top of your strut. Bolts. So this is 1.5 inch adapter. These are less than, probably around 1 inch. And then we're going to put some 1.5 inch wheel adapters on as well. And while we're at it, we're just going to replace all the lug nuts because the ones on there are pretty worn out. First thing you got to do is disconnect your battery so that your power steering is not activated for when you remove your tie rod end. So just disconnect the negative of the battery. Alright, so after you get the tire off, you got to remove these two bolts. One's for your brake line, the other one's for your ABS sensor, so you can fold this up. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to loosen this bolt, and then your tie rod bolt down here, and then your sway bar end link from underneath the lower control arm. Okay, so after you want to kill yourself taking this upper ball joint out because the nut seized, you got to take the lower shock mount bolt out. It's a 30 mil on this side here, 27 on that side. Once you got that loosened off, you can take these 3 bolts, the shock, top of the shock tower off, and we'll catch up with you in a few minutes, hopefully. Okay, so after you get your strut out, you run the bolts through the spacer, and then you put this on. It only goes on one way, this way here, and you get 3 nylock nuts and you torque those down to 15 foot-pounds. Alright, so once you get this torqued on, you turn your strut 180 degrees from where it came out. Like I said, this only goes on one way, and then you put it in. And then you're going to need your pry bar here, probably. I'm not going to want to videotape this. Alright, so once you put your strut back in, I didn't mention, but I changed my upper control arm and my tie rod ends. Just because. So once you put those on, you've got the strut in, you could go ahead and put your ball joints back in your knuckle here. As well as your tie rod end and your sway bar end link, and then should be done. Okay, so after you get your strut back in, you get your outer tie rod end in, you got your upper ball joint, and your sway bar end link. Just don't forget to reconnect this brake line holder and the ABS sensor holder right here, too, 10mm bolts. And then we'll move on to putting the wheel spacers on. Alright, so oh, just one correction. One of these are a 10mm, the other one is an 8, not both 10s. Anyway, put this spacer on here. First thing I like to do is spray it with some brake clean. Spray the studs with brake clean, and then hit them with a wire brush, just in case there's any never sees or anything on there that'll prevent the thread locker from sticking. So I'll get back to you in a second. Okay, so after you clean it, you just put a little bit of Loctite on them. So Loctite's almost empty. And then you put this wheel adapter on, sorry, and nuts on, and then you torque these to 150 foot-pounds. Check them a few times too, because sometimes they don't seat on the middle on that hub. So we'll get back to you in a sec. Okay, so it's now the next day. I brought it in for an alignment, and to replace the tie rod ends and everything, so I had to get it realigned. So now you can see the front and the back are just about level. I think the front maybe a quarter inch or something higher, but you can't tell, which is kind of surprising because it's an 1.5" leveling kit. I decided not to go with the 2" but anyway, so here are the spacers. They're not sticking out too far, which is what I was kind of going for. I could definitely see the rear tires from my mirrors when I'm driving, which is what I was after. So yeah, overall I think it wasn't too bad of an installation. Maybe 3 hours total, and with the spacers and everything. So as long as you can just get your upper ball joints out easily, it's not that bad of a job. Alright, thanks.